Ooh. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sonic Lost World. Don't mind me, I'm just kind of deleting my save file because I just realized that is a good idea to do. The first stage loads faster when there's not an active save file, so that's why I figured I should do that. Doesn't really matter much in the grand scheme of a marathon run, but it will. But hi, I'm CriticalCyd. I'm going to be doing Sonic Lost World for you right here. A little bit about the category before I start. The Wingless thing that kind of important to explain. This game has a mechanic where after you die 5 times or hit 0 lives, it spawns a wing for you. That wing teleports you to the next checkpoint. And this is a category that doesn't do that. Otherwise, the entire run is just going to be filled with a whole bunch of death abuse. You don't get to see as much of the game. And it's also not particularly marathon safe because you spend most of it at 0 lives. So instead, we're going to be doing the one where that is banned. You get to see a lot more cool skips and all of the stages in the run. So without further ado, I think I'm ready to get started. 3, 2, 1, go! All right. So if you have or have not played this game before, regardless, I'm going to give you a tip to move fast in this game. Hold L trigger to start your spin dash. Tap it up to 3 times to make it go faster. Release and then re-hold the trigger, and your spin dash will now go infinitely until you either crash into something or cancel it with moves like a double jump or just a manual cancellation. So you could just kind of jump and it'll keep going and stuff like that. Other than that, here in the first stage, I'm going to be gathering a whole bunch of these capsules. These capsules has animals in them, and they are kind of important for progressing in this game. There are the 4th stage of every zone will be locked off by an animal requirement. The first one I really need to worry about is 300 animals by the end of the 2nd zone. That is the first big milestone to hit. And that's what these capsules are for. The capsules have 10 animals in them. Every robot also has 1 animal in them. And at the end of every 1st and 3rd stage, there is also a capsule, a bigger one that holds 30 animals. So with that, I'm going to just kind of be grabbing all of those. And that's the first stage done with 151 animals. So this game is a bit of a mix of 3D and 2D Sonic. The first stage is fully 3D, second stage is going to be fully 2D, but there's also going to be stages later on that mix the two. So now for our first 2D stage, once again going to charge up spin dash and try to keep it going as long as possible. As long as I only do a single jump, then it just kind of keeps going as soon as I land. Gonna damage boost my way through a few enemies here and there. And this is also one of the stages that introduces one of the bosses. The bosses in this game are the Deadly 6. They're not particularly deadly. The boss fights themselves are pretty easy. They mostly are just here to yap at you through every 2nd stage. They sure like to yap. Currently, it is beatdown time. So this game features a nice little mechanic called the multi-lock-on homing attack. I don't know if it's actually called that. That's what I call it right now. But as long as a target is within your homing attack range, it will charge up to a maximum, which depends on the enemy, of homing attacks to make your homing attack more powerful, essentially. And as a result, with this particular boss, I could clear him in 2 fully charged homing attacks rather than doing a whole bunch of smaller ones. Honestly, it's not exactly balanced around it. I feel like it was a pretty late addition because it kind of makes all of the bosses pushovers. Now, the multi-lock-on also works between multiple enemies, like I did just now, and that has the added benefit that the more you lock on, with every subsequent enemy, you get more and more bonus animals. So that comes up in that very start of this stage, and basically it's not important anywhere else because we're going to be having other ways to get more animals. But since at the start of the run I'm a little stretched for them, gotta make sure that I quickly get to 300 animals. That is one of the ways to do it. Get a whole bunch by getting a big multi-lock-on. Now most of the stage is going to be infinitely spin dashing through it. Not the most interesting thing. The most interesting thing here is a damage boost right here, and that's about it. So instead, I'm going to be talking about the next stage, because the next stage is going to be a mix of 3D and 2D. And most of the games that have a mix of that they also have ways to bring your 3D physics into the 2D sections. This game tries to mostly prevent you from that by having screen transitions in between the 3D and the 2D. But everything is still stored on the same map. You're not actually loading into a new area. It's just a little bit of a screen transition. Which means that if you can somehow find your way to one of the 2D stages later on in the stage, then you can keep your 3D physics there. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be squeezing in between 2 kill planes, which is honestly very tight. It could take me a few attempts, so I'm also going to grab this extra life just to be sure. And then I'm just going to set it up right at the start of the stage. Nice, first try breakout. Still gotta land it though. Gotta land it right here. Make sure that I hit the checkpoint here and start the chase sequence. And the nice thing about 3D movement versus 2D movement is that you move significantly faster in 3D. Which means that I kind of like have to... Normally you have to chase after Zaz, which is the name of this boss, quite a bit. Now you kind of like chase him down significantly, like to the point where he reaches his maximum speed. Once again, going to be giving him 2 fully charged homing attacks to clear it, and then that is that. All right, that was a very smooth Windy Hill, very good start of the run. All right. Now the next stage is where the game actually tells you about the infinite spin dash and how that is the way to go fast. But by that point, it has already given you a whole bunch of hints to potentially open, and you have to like manually press a button to show the hints that tell you about these things. So most people will not know about it because by this point you really are like, okay, most of these hints are not very important. I'm just going to stop clicking them and just kind of like do my own thing, just figure it out. But as a result, I never knew that you could charge your spin dash until I just picked this up for speedrunning. And the infinite spin dash I only saw like through watching speedruns again. Now, a little bit of a different exploit here. If I jump away from a wall and then jump right back onto the same wall, you can infinitely wall run. And that is like one of the more unique mechanics in this game. Sonic can wall run, both in 3D and in 2D. And in both of them, as long as you like jump far enough away from the wall and then immediately jump back to them, then you could just do another wall run on the same wall. That's not actually intended, it's a little bit of an exploit, but it does make navigating everything quite nice. Alright. Now, just going to be avoiding as many enemies as possible here. My spin dash is a little slow. It's only a 2-tap spin dash instead of a 3-tap spin dash, but that's alright. It's still fast enough to do everything I want to do. Hopefully these fire enemies are nice to me. They are. And then here we're going to do another bit of infinite wall run exploit to get up there a bit more easily. Try to do a nice swag little jump here. Right in between the gaps, does not save a lot. As a matter of fact, I'm already losing time, but it's cool, and swag is time neutral, so we're just gonna keep going until I get it. The estimate allows for it anyway. There we go. Got it eventually. Now, I do have something to worry about in this stage. There are some enemies, some really big ones that just kind of like roll around. They're more obstacles than enemies, but because you can't actually defeat them, and they just kind of block your path if they are in a particular part of their cycle. And that cycle started as soon as I loaded into the stage, so we're kind of going to see whether they're going to block me or not. Looks like they are. I'm just going to play it safe, let them pass, charge a new spin dash, and then just keep going. All throughout the stage, I've also been collecting more and more animals, just to make sure that I hit that 300 animal benchmark at the very end of this second zone. And this also has a funny little quirk that is only useful here, because it's only on sand. If you go on that particular sand and you let go of your spin dash and then you restart it, you get like some kind of a medium in-between spin dash. That's it allows you to move faster on the sand. It is quite convenient. All right, now it's time to start breaking things. I already did that a little bit in Windy Hill 4, but this one has a nice little skip as well. This stage is normally an auto runner, but it also has these diving sections in between. And at the end of this diving section is a flower. That flower will send me back into the auto run. So I'm going to purposely miss it. Well, There we go, did not quite get it. What I want is to purposely miss it, to do a little weird wall running nonsense that then lets me do a spin dash, because this is actually intended to be floor. And then if I jump the correct way out of that spin dash, I can break out of the auto running section. So let's give it another attempt. There we go. Now I'm going to be landing on an invisible floor here, unless I miss it. Alright. And that will eventually make me reach a kill plane. It is faster to just load out of the stage. Now this is definitely one of the harder tricks in the run. This is also, you know, tricks like this are why the estimate is as high as it is. So don't worry, we are totally fine. I'm just gonna try and get it right now. I need to make sure that I'm still close enough to land on the invisible floor. Alright, that looks a lot better. So that is going to land right there, and for the rest of this I'm just going to be falling, because falling is a lot faster than the auto running and the diving sections, so I'm just kind of going to be doing that. I do have to worry about dodging a few kill planes, but as long as I just use my visual cues like this wooden board right here, then it should not be much of an issue. There's another visual cue right here, and then I just need to land back into the stage before I get to the actual boss fight, because the boss fight is surrounded by a whole bunch of kill planes. So there we go. I do need to make sure that I don't run into the wall after I land there, because then I will just splat on it. During the auto running, if you hit those particular walls, Sonic will do a little splat animation. That splat will happen even if you run slow. So it's basically just programmed into the walls, not into the auto running. Now this boss fight is essentially an auto-scroller. You just need to wait until he lets you hit him. There we go. And then you sit through another diving section, and there's a little bit of waiting, avoiding him, stuff like that. Make sure he doesn't knock you off. Man, this is Zoma, the second boss. Most of the bosses in this game, personality-wise, are incredibly one-dimensional. His little trait is that he's always hungry. He's a gluttonous little boy. So I'm always talking about dinner and dessert and all that kind of stuff. All right, well, we got him.
Does this mean no dessert?
But no, this does not mean no dessert, because the very next stage is not desert ruins, it's dessert ruins. We are going to have a dessert-themed stage, and this one also has a very big break in it. Because the level kind of like curves and swerves around itself, so even though it is 2D, it's kind of like curved 2D planes that you can use to just kind of hit the collision in a weird way, so that allows you to click through and then essentially go to the very end of the stage. So let me see if I can get it. There we go. Breakout. That looks alright. Alright, got the slow version, but that's fine. I can land directly on that platform, but instead I'll just land on these slower little cannons. No big deal. And then I'm right at the end of the stage, so that skips basically the entirety of that stage. Good stuff. Now we're not done yet with big skips. The next one is also a pretty big one and a pretty important one, because this next stage is auto-scroller. For the entire auto-scroller, I'm going to be let me just grab some extra lives just to be sure. For the entire auto-scroller, I'm going to be chased by this tornado right here. And this tornado, it moves faster and or slower depending on which part of the stage you're in. There's essentially certain triggers that you hit that make the auto-scroller go faster or slower. And I'm going to try to stay in the faster sections as long as possible. There's a trigger right here in front of me. And then just kind of speed through the slow section as fast as I can. There we go, and now I'm in a little bit of a faster section again. The difference in this first section is pretty minimal, but in the second section it is going to be a lot bigger. And for that point we're also going to be trying to get behind the tornado so that I can stay in the fast moving section, not hit the trigger for it to go slower. And that is actually possible, because the tornado does not have a a kill plane or a kill box, hitbox, hurt box, whatever you want to call it, at the top or at the bottom. So if I just kind of go over it or under it, then I will not actually get into the tornado. And then after that, what I need to do is I need to make sure that I at all points keep a wall in front of me, so that Sonic does not get warped to the to where the rest of the screen is. And I can do that with the infinite wall running exploit. That does mean that I will be doing all of that off screen. So I'm going to be needing some silence, some audio cues for that, and hopefully it'll go fine. And then once I get to where I want to go, I can jump over the wall. It will teleport me to the very left of the screen and allow me to get back to safety. Here we go. And that's the first one. It's not done yet. There's another part to it, so let's try and get that as well. And there it is. Very nice. That is one of the hardest skips in the game. And since it's an auto-scroller that moves pretty slow, it's also a pretty big time loss if you fail it. So very happy that I got that one first try. Good stuff. So, this stage has also introduced the drill wisp. It drills to the ground. You can press the right trigger to make it drill faster. That's basically just how it goes. The wisps are very inconsequential in this game. They were introduced in Sonic Colors, but they decided to bring them back here. So, one other thing that I was doing while I was off-screen doing the infinite wall running exploit is I was doing a slow descent on the wall. If in the middle of your wall run you press the X button, then you get this slow descent, which allows you to more easily stay on the wall. It's quite convenient. So essentially by chaining that a couple of times, I managed to keep the wall to the right of me, allowing me to stay off-screen and allowing me to keep Sonic in the part of the stage where the tornado is moving faster. And yeah, that does save quite a significant amount of time. The first wall saves 20 seconds, and the second wall saves 10 seconds. All right. Now, during that autoscroller, I also, of course, got more animals. And animals is basically the name of the game at the first section of the next zone, Tropical Coast. This is where I'm going to be doing my grinding for most of the rest of the animals I need, because there is a nice set of 11 capsules that is close to the checkpoint. So I'm going to be getting it, and then when you die, the capsules respawn, but you do keep the animals that you gathered before, so that allows me to just grind to the amount of animals that I need. And I'm going to be doing that for about 9 rounds of those capsules, and that is that. This game, this stage also introduces some other mechanics. Every zone has their own little mechanics. This one introduces the little cages with the butterflies that make the flower bloom, which will then shoot you to your next destination. But for the time being, we have entered the grinding era of the speedrun. So there we go. And then this crab is going to be my friend, because this crab is very nice. So this game actually features 2 different types of homing attacks, a normal one and one where Sonic does a kick. And that particular crab can only be destroyed if you hit him with the kick. If you do a normal attack, he just parries you and damages you, or in this case, I'm going to make sure that I don't have any rings to very quickly die. And I'm just kind of going to keep getting these captured over and over. To help with my movement, I'm also making use of the stomp attack, or rather the bounce, that just bounces me onto the next one. Makes the movement quite a bit better. And there we go. Going to be doing this a couple of times, so Double, if there is anything, any incentives you want to plug or something like that, then that would be a good time to do it.
Alrighty. Well, in that case, allow me to shout out the incentive for the Devil May Cry run that is coming up later today. For us to see the legendary cutscene of Dante and Trish. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you want to know. We're currently at 60 euros on that incentive, and 100 is needed to meet that incentive, so that leaves 40 euros remaining to get.
I don't know. I kind of want to know now. Just not knowing bothers me. please meet that incentive so that I can know. All right, a few more rounds of this. Grinding. I've actually worked on the animal route for this game quite a bit after I picked it up earlier this year. It used to be that you actually did like I think 12 rounds of this, but I managed to just whittle it down to 9 just by or I think 11 maybe actually, 11 rounds. Regardless, more rounds. I managed to whittle it down by a couple of rounds just by getting more capsules at other places, because there are actually a few other capsules that are just pretty fast to grab in other sections of the run, and by routing those in and timing those out, I managed to make sure that we do not spend as much time grinding here, which means you need less lives, and which like makes the run a lot more safe in the long run as well. You can afford to die to skips more friendly for marathons, and at the same time also just faster. Always an item when that lines up. All right, that was the final death. Gonna grab the capsules one more time, and then I'm going to keep going. One of the other mechanics that this stage introduces is cloud sections at the, in this case at the very end of the stage. And cloud sections give you specific physics on the clouds that are honestly very slow. It gives you a very slow moveset. And if you can manage to keep your spin dash on them, which is not intended, but you can do it, then it speeds it up significantly. So what I'm going to be doing is I get a small window once I get to the clouds to actually start my spin dash, and as long as I keep doing a bounce attack into a spin dash, just buffering it like that, I manage to maintain my spin dash. So let's see how it goes. That's a lot faster than actually doing the cloud movement. And as long as you just kind of get into a nice rhythm, then it is a-okay. The game is also very nice to give me a whole bunch of the lives back that I just got. So I think we should be absolutely safe for the rest of the run. There we go. That's all the animals I need. For the time being, you know, there's other stages where I'm going to be grabbing them. There's also one other cloud section that is on the, like this one was just straightforward. With that one, I actually am going to have to do quite a bit of maneuvering, so it's coming up later in Frozen Factory 1. Now, for the time being, the second stage of the Tropical Coast area, this one has these little fruits, and by little fruits I mean big fruits, that roll around into the blender, cause a whole bunch of juice to send you to the next section. The theme of Tropical Coast is fruit, essentially. It also introduces a rocket. Rockets are quite nice, they make you go up, and in this case I could just go to the very next section by shooting the rocket correctly. There are actually balloons around that also have rockets in them, with which you can like do that movement with multiple rockets. But multiple rockets are slow, I'd rather just do it in one, so by aiming them properly, everything is going to be a-okay. Now this boss fight is once again going to be pretty easy. I'm going to guide him into the blender, and then I'm going to do 2 fully charged homing attacks on him. So Double, if you want to read any donations, go for it.
Well, I just so happen to have one here. Seems like you're getting some help in knowing about this cutscene, because we have 25 euros from GP. Apologies if I said that wrong. No comment, but thank you very much for your donation, and that is going towards the Devil May Cry cutscene, which with that now sits at 85 euros out of 100.
Very nice, very nice. All right, next up we have the first of 2 rail stages. Rail stages have their own set of physics along with it. What's important for these rail stages is that I need to be airborne and holding forward as much as I can, because that does make me go faster. They're also a mix of 3D and 2D, and there's no screen transitions between them, so I can just kind of jump around the 3D triggers in a lot of the, or the 2D triggers in a lot of these places to maintain my 3D physics. So let's see if I got that. Very nice. Now, I'm still going to be trying to hold forward while jumping. This is 3D speed. It's a lot faster than the 2D speed, which you'll see in the next 2D section where I can't get 3D speed. But yeah, holding forward during that is actually quite difficult, as you can imagine, with that camera angle, because forward is slightly diagonal. It's forward for Sonic, not forward for me, not forward for the camera or anything like that. So I do have to hold a pretty specific angle to make sure that while I'm holding forward to go faster, I don't actually fall off the rails. Now, hopefully, if I did that first section fast enough, I can get a good cycle here. Yep, just about made it, which allows me to maintain that speed from the speed pad. Fortunately, you do hit the checkpoint with that as well, because unfortunately there's also kill planes at the top, which means that I can, if I do that jump too high, hit the kill plane at the top and just die there. But that is not a big death. There's a checkpoint literally right there. This is what normal 2D speed looks like. There's no 3D and 2D for the second one. The other rail stage, though, there will be 3D and 2D glitches for both of the 2D sections, and they are more difficult as well. A lot more obstacles to deal with, because those like 3D and 2D glitches, you can make it as difficult for yourself as you want to in a lot of cases, because you don't have to hold forward. You still go faster with just the 3D physics, and you can just like hold neutral so that you always maintain the right position to stay on the rail. But of course, that is not as fast as possible as you want to go. And in some sections of the other rail stage, I will actually have to do that in order to properly be able to evade the obstacles that are in my way. Hello, please get on the capsule center. Thank you. Woo. All right, cool. Definitely one of the harder stages, so happy that is out of the way. That's going pretty well. I'd say outside of Desert Ruins too, this has honestly been going pretty well thus far in general. Still, this game can really snowball out of control when it comes to deaths, so I am going to just grab that one life. Oh, hello. Now, at the start of this particular stage, there is another rocket section. This time I am going to make use of the balloons. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try and reach a balloon I'm not supposed to be able to reach, because you're supposed to take the rockets to a different planet. Ooh, just barely missed it. Just like, I got it, but then my rocket already ran out by that point, which means that I just kind of like got a ring instead of an extension from my rocket. These shots can be pretty difficult, because depending on where you start, your camera angle is going to be different. Like this time it's different than before, so you need to know a whole bunch of setups to be able to hit these balloons properly, no matter what your camera angle is. This second try is looking a lot better. Gotta also make sure I don't hit the kill plane right here at the end. But that is very nice, and that actually skips quite a bit. There's a lot of planets that the game intends you to go through with those rockets, with a lot of, honestly, bad gimmicks. There's one where you have a pineapple with an incredibly bad hitbox, and you have to destroy a whole bunch of enemies that can only be destroyed with that pineapple. It is a whole thing, and I'm very happy we could skip it. Less pineapple skip. Alright, now this is one of the stages that really likes to curve on itself. That actually messes with your jumps quite a bit, because of course your center of gravity will be from when you started your jump, and if the game then curves the landscape, it's like, things are going to be a little bit weird. A couple of stages that are going to be like that. Also, I can skip that loop by just kind of jumping through it like that, through the top. It also has these little trees. These trees, they just kind of like to suck you in and really give you slow movement. Been trying to avoid it, but those trees get me sometimes. And something else that is honestly quite difficult about this game with all of its objects and altered gravity and whatnot that you get from the geometry that you've been seeing. Those orbs are very dangerous. Anything that's like small and rounded that just kind of likes to draw you in to keep you on the platform, it's very hard to do fast movement on it, because you can, like if you do it, like if you don't hit it just right, then before you know it, you're spin dashing right into the water. It's quite difficult, but I got it. We good.
Your lesson begins now.
All right. Once again, going to be giving him a couple of fully charged homing attacks. Grab the rocket, go to the next planet, and do it again. Again, the bosses are not all that dangerous. This one can be a little bit tricky if, for instance, you accidentally jump into one of those things like orbs that he has around him, one of those berries. Then he kind of gets invulnerable for a little bit, and you really have to wait it out. You can lose quite a bit of time to that, but still, there's not a lot of risk, and as long as you know where you're going with the rockets, you can make pretty quick work of that boss as well. All right. That's Tropical Coast for you. On to the next zone. This is one of my favorites from the factory. It is admittedly one of the more gimmicky ones, being a nice area and all that kind of stuff, but it also has some cool skips, and honestly, I like the gimmicks and great music. The vibes are good here, all right? The vibes are good. So, by doing a spin dash right there on the slanted slope at the top of that, you can just, as long as you buffer it, you can kind of already start a spin dash anyway, even though it's not supposed to be solid ground. So that helps me go up, which scripts quite a bit, because this is normally a stage that just kind of loops over itself a couple of times. So here I'm going to get hit by the enemies in order to get out of the slow cloud physics and back into a state where I can do spin dashing. There we go. And as long as I just kind of keep homing attacking, that should be good. I'll launch myself from this one straight into the further part of the stage, and that then sends me to the last section. That cloud movement is pretty dang difficult, so that was good. I'm happy about that. That was nice. Good vibes. Good vibes. All right. Once again, this final section, it's supposed to loop around itself a couple of times to get to where you want to go. You just kind of keep getting higher every time you get to the end of the section, and it sends you back to the start. But with some good wall running, you can reach the springs early to make quick work of that stage. That was nice. That was one of my favorite ones. All right. Now it is time for snowballing. We're snowballing this one. And snowball physics are weird. I can't charge my spin dash. It's just spin dash go or no spin dash. I can just kind of roll around. Can't really do any homing attacks or anything like that. I'm just a big snowball rolling around, doing my thing. Any rings I get are going to be stuck to the snowball, and I don't get them until I get to a checkpoint. So there's going to be these billiard balls. These billiard balls, fortunately, also give you some rings. And this is another place where you can get a bunch of extra lives just by grabbing a whole bunch of rings. So overall, once you get past the initial section, this run is pretty safe with the amount of lives it gives you. These little Yetis, they kind of bounce you in a certain trajectory. Sometimes it's faster to take them, sometimes it's not faster to take them, sometimes it's just a little bit safer to take them, like right here. So I choose to do it. So in order to do a spin dash with this, you do have to slow down properly. So there I made sure that I slowed down so I could start a new spin dash to go a little bit faster. Now coming up, there's some cycles of platforms that just rise into the air every now and then. I'm going to try and get to it early, but I just barely missed it. Getting a fast cycle on this one, like the first cycle, is honestly very tricky. The cycles on this one are local, so they don't start doing their little platforming thing until you get close enough and the draw distance spawns them in. But yeah, that first particular fast cycle is very hard to get. Now right here, I'm going to be skirting on the edge of that ramp. Normally at the edge of ramps, it sets your speed to a specific speed, but you can kind of avoid that trigger by hitting it on the outskirts, which allowed me to maintain my speed, go a bit faster, and there you go. A little bit of ramp speed. All right, so here's the small Yetis that redirect you. I'm happy they worked. They don't always work. They're lined up pretty good, but not perfectly. They can absolutely send you flying to your death. But they were nice to me there. Just playing some billiards. There's billiards in the sky here. Don't worry about it. All right, these big Yetis right here, they can really mess you up. So I do play that area pretty safe. To maybe get rid of one of them and bypass the other by going far enough to the right. That one, you could just kind of ricochet off the two of them to get them both together, and there you go. All right, there's another fast cycle to get right here, and then that cycle is going to bring me to the boss fight. And then the boss fight in here is Xena, and she likes snow. She's going to spawn a whole bunch of snowmen, and I'm going to have to play hide and seek with her. Thank you, thanks for noticing. All right, so she's always in the last snowman you destroy of every phase, but the snowman patterns are consistent. So as long as you do your movement properly, so not what I've just been doing, you get a good. And if you hit the bomb, then it resets you and gives you a different pattern instead. So, oops. Oh well, just gonna have to go for a different pattern. No big deal. And there we go. One more phase. Hit right into the bombs. Because I kind of messed up, I did not quite know where the bombs were, so I'm also going to have to go for the alternate pattern on this one, but that's alright. Gonna make sure that I avoid the bombs this time. And there we go. Yo, destroy it, please. Now, during this last bit, she starts running away a little bit faster, so it can be a bit hard to chase her. Honestly, this boss fight has been going disastrous, but there's no way to die. As long as you don't time out, which takes forever, there's no way to die during this boss fight. Alright, happy Snowball. Happy Snowball. I do love that they keep Sonic in the Snowball state for the score screen there. Now, the ice area also doubles as the casino area, because what Sonic game is complete without a casino area, and of course pinball. I keep running the Sonic games that have pinball. Not all of them have pinball, but for some reason I keep being drawn to the ones with pinball, even though I don't actually want to play pinball. But there's pinball. Going to have to get a certain amount of points, then the exit that's like right in the middle will open up. Hopefully I get lucky. I can shake the pinball table to maybe help me a little bit. Only one more hit, and then we're good. And now I just need to get into the exit. Honestly, getting to the exit, that is the hard part of this. Getting the points is usually not too big a deal. Oh, well that worked. That was a good bounce. Right. Fortunately, only one pinball table is mandatory for the stage. The rest is just kind of going to using the infinite spin mash to just kind of get to the end of the stage. That guy sometimes gets me. Oh well. And yeah, I'm basically ignoring everything else. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that give you points and bonus items and all that kind of nonsense. But no, if you, aside from the pinball table, if you want, you can just kind of go to the end of the casino. No big deal. There's other pinball tables that you can do stuff with. They're bigger and more intimidating. Fortunately, they're optional. All right. Something else about this area that I have neglected to mention, because you don't really see a lot of it in the first stage, is ice physics. You actually have ice physics. This game also has a run button. Like Sonic's normal speed is not exactly his running speed. You have to hold the right trigger to do running. And during the ice sections, it becomes ice skating instead. So the fastest movement while you're on the ice, that you can't actually spin dash on the ice, is to just be doing the ice skating. It also allows you to do nice ballerina jumps. Whee! Yeah, I did not want that enemy, actually. I don't need it.
Those shoes are atrocious, and the white gloves are ridiculous.
Xena just casually in the background roasting me for my fit. It's a classic, man. I can't believe it. Can't believe she did that to me. Okay. We're fine. The trajectory of that jump was a little scary. The problem with the ballerina jumps that you could do on the ice is that once you do the jump, your trajectory is set. So that's where you're going to go. You can't alter in the air in any way. You don't have your double jump either. Yeah, it's you are locked in. But they are pretty fast and they look pretty nice, so it's not a big deal. Now here there are some crushers. These crushers are also on a local cycle, so I will always have to wait for those ones, particularly right there. And the crushers right here. Oh, always nice to get through that section without a damage boost. Usually there's quite a few places in this game where you just kind of have to take a damage boost to get anywhere close to being fast. And now we're just kind of going to be doing a whole bunch more ice skating. There's a few more animal capsules that I'm going to get later in the stage. And then at the end, there's another boss fight. So for the most part with boss fights, I've just been doing fully charged homing attacks to do as much damage as I can. But there are actually times, one at the very first boss that I neglected to do, and one in this particular area where you don't want to do a full homing attack on them. Because once they do, they go into their little invulnerable animation as they recover from your hit. And that does not allow you to hit them for a while. Whereas with this one, if I first do a 2 charge, so instead of the full 3 charges, then I can hit her again for the final hit, and that'll send her into her final phase sooner because the damage animation is done. That looks very scary, by the way. It's incredibly consistent. You can just kind of buffer the spin dash, and as long as you just let it go as soon as possible, then there you go, you got it. Doesn't mean I haven't died to it. I could still be bad, but it's not as scary as it looks. All right, so right here. Oh, accidentally did 3 hit. Okay. There we go. Just barely didn't get her before she got to this phase. Oh well. Just have to wait for her to do her little attack and then get her. No big deal. Cutscenes. Skipping cutscenes is the hardest part of the run, truly. Honestly, the hardest part of this run is trying to find places to drink to stay hydrated. This game moves pretty fast. There's not a lot of parts where you don't have to do any inputs. But we're alright, I'm hydrated, I'm good to go. Now here in Silent Forest 1, this is another stage where I'm going to be getting quite a few animals. There's a lot of like fast capsules here, like these 4 right here. Normally you would just kind of like take the rails do move you a little bit faster, and there are like a whole bunch of rails in front of you, but for not a lot of time investments you can take another route. It's kind of nice that it's like a tube and there's paths to take on every side of the tube and all that kind of nonsense. It's all good. Now here are the spiders. The spiders you have to kick first, and then you can do a normal attack to destroy them. And once you get them all, then you free all the butterflies and you get the flower that sends you to the next section. There's going to be another section with spiders like that, but those spiders are going to be intermittently doing a little spin that makes me not able to attack them, making it quite slow. So rather than destroying the spiders, I'm just going to climb a tree. You're not supposed to climb this tree, but if you buffer your spin dashes while you land on the slopes, then you can actually land on the tree. And then I just need to position myself correctly, and then I can just launch myself from the tree to the very next section. Very nice. And that is just a little bit faster than actually destroying all of those spiders, because there's quite a few spiders in that section, and they take quite a while to destroy, because after if you take too long in between them, then they have to get to do a little attack, and I think in total I get to do like 3 attacks or something. Anyway, find more capsules for animals, and we good. We're starting to get to the point where we almost don't need to get any extra animals anymore. Anything else can just be gotten from the capsules at the end of the stages, and just anything you collect naturally. There's only one more place where I'm going to get out of my way. Cool. So this stage is entirely 2D, but it just kind of like loops in on itself until you get to the center, so you get to see future sections of the stage right there in front of you. It also has my favorite of the Deadly Six, my favorite boss. It has Zor. His personality trait is me in high school. He gets me for real. He's a little bit emo, is what I'm saying. But he gets it. Alright, the movement here is honestly pretty awkward with how all of the obstacles and enemies are positioned, but if you know the layout well enough, you can still manage to maintain quite a few spin dashes. But on average, there is a lot more restarting your spin dashes because you have to do double jumps and all that kind of stuff in this particular stage. It is also a stealth level for the last half. So, getting spotted by this owl in the background is an insta-kill. So I really want to make sure I am not spotted. In order to help you with that, the game gives you the Rhythm Wisp, which while you're in the Rhythm Wisp, you are not actually able to be spotted. But you can also just roll. For some reason, during the rolling animation, the bird can't spot you and thinks you're not there. So you just kind of, if you are about to be spotted, just do some rolling, and then there you go. Yeah, the game does definitely intend for you to use rhythm to not be spotted. So getting through it without using rhythm at all is honestly quite tricky and tight, and not at all times intended how the movement you have to do for it. All right, here I have to shoot his bullets back to him, and then he falls off. I can hit him a little bit. Maybe doing that a couple more times. I can only do one hit in particular against this guy. When he falls off, I can't actually do any charges in order to skip phases. I just kind of have to sit through them. What I can do is make sure that he shoots one of these rockets a little bit earlier, so that I will have, like in the previous cycle, so that I have 2 quick rockets to shoot back at him. And the shooting back you have to do with the kick. You can't just do a normal homing attack on them, that will just make sure that you get hit. But with the kick, you can shoot them back at him. All right. Now we have another ice level. It kind of escapes from Frozen Factory and kind of got lost in the forest. So now we have an ice stage in the forest. So I'm going to be doing some more ice skating. Also going to be trying to maintain some speed by doing ballerina jumps. The ballerina jumps are very good at maintaining speed. So if I can maintain speed from these speed boosters by with some well-timed jumps, then that does actually speed me up quite a bit. Very nice. All right. Now there are going to be some more new introductions here. You don't have to do ballerina jumps while you're on the ice, by the way. As long as you just let go of the run button, then you're no longer in like ice skating mode. Rather, you're in normal walking mode, where you just like walk around on the slippery ice a little bit and slip around. But during that, you can just do a normal jump. So you're not forced to do the ballerina jumps, fortunately, which is important because you can't actually homing attack out of the ballerina jumps. But yeah, some other thing that is going to be introduced in this, it's technically already present in some earlier stages, I think, is the laser wisp. I just haven't actually been using it because the wisps in general are not that useful. But there is one section here where the laser path is just straight up faster. It's essentially when you hit like a little diamond path for the laser, it just sends you on sends you flying. There's also a little trick I do with these guys. They're supposed to block you off, but as long as I just jump past their trigger first, I could just trick them into going on the other side of the stage and walk around pretty easily. But yeah, you're supposed to go to the, trick them to go to the other side, and then they're vulnerable and you can destroy them, but that's slower than just, you know, manipulating them to be on the other side. Yeah, that was the laser. The laser is pretty hard to control. This was originally a Wii U game, and honestly, the wisp controls in particular were definitely built around the Wii U gamepad in a lot of points. So they can be a little awkward to control on the PC port, which I am playing. But of course, PC port has better loads, so it's better for speedrunning. What it also has is lower animal requirements, which you can imagine is quite nifty. Wii U does have a particular free DLC with the Legend of Zelda DLC that is pretty good for animal collections as well. But so even though they have higher animal requirements, they also have a more powerful way to grind those animals, so it kind of evens out a little bit. But overall, PC version is still definitely the way to go. All right, those guys also go on a cycle as soon as you like load into the area. So more of a global area essentially. And yeah, I got the cycle that I wanted there. All good. Another wisp section right here. This is one that I also can't avoid. I try to avoid using the wisp whenever possible, but this drill section is mandatory. You're supposed to hit those enemies in the center, which will raise these platforms, but fortunately the next one is pretty low to the ground, so I could just, even though the platforms are not raised, reach the next platform. But for these final two, I do actually have to destroy the enemy that is in the center in order to make the platforms raised so that I can continue. All right. Now the movement in this stage is also honestly quite awkward, I will say, with a lot of the a lot of the movement. But it's alright. This guy as well, who bounces you back. The stage design on this one can be a little bit tricky, but it is also a cool looking stage. A lot of like Donkey Kong Country inspirations in this one. Especially like the later games, Returns and Tropical Freeze. Alright, got through it. There we go. You can actually pull light switches here to see where you're going a little bit better, but I don't actually want to do that. There is also, while you're in the dark mode, you can't actually homing attack any enemies, which at times can actually be convenient, because I do not want to homing attack enemies. Granted, it's pretty easy to also just not homing attack. Like in a lot of Sonic games, the homing attack button is like on the exact same button as the jump button. So sometimes when you want to do a double jump and you're locked onto something, you end up doing a homing attack instead. But this game is nice enough to give you two jump buttons. One that does do the homing attack and one that doesn't. So you just always have a dedicated homing attack, dedicated jump button somewhere, which is quite useful. Right. Gonna make it light so that I can actually homing attack him. And then with one fully charged one should be enough. And it's so true, bestie. As long as you don't, like, as long as Zor in getting damage does not destroy the block that you're about to land on, you're pretty much good. Where he and his shadow clones go is a little bit random, so there's a little bit of luck to that fight, but it is honestly pretty good. Alright, now this is Sky Road, and this is a place where runs die. This is home to one of the hardest tricks in the run. We call it bloke skip, because there's a planet that has a couple of blokes on it that you have to destroy, but you'd rather just avoid the planet altogether so that you skip the blokes. So let's see if I can get it. Alright, looking a little dodgy. Yeah, that did not quite make it. It is incredibly tight to actually get to that. And the kill plane is very low there, so it is faster to just quit out rather than wait for your death, because the death is going to send you to the start of the stage anyway, unless you grab the checkpoint, but overall it's faster to just restart the stage. Definitely one of the harder tricks in the run. You just kind of have to do your fully charged spin dash off the edge and get, you know, not sway from the perfect line too much. You also have to get close enough to the actual bloke planet that it's like resets your gravity a little bit, but not so close that you enter a diving section. And also you need to stay far enough that you don't actually get close to where you go. But there you go. The only way you get that is by just barely making it into the gravitational pull of the next section, and that's that. During this section, there's also some nice bees to get for some more extra animals. This is one of the last big animal grinding stages, just thanks to these bees. Since I did a little skip to get here, and it doesn't directly send me into the auto running section, I would be able to instead do the spin dashing, which can be a little bit faster, but you would miss out on all of those bees since you can only get them while you're auto running. So since it's like a good 30 to 40 animals, I do make sure that I take the very small time loss of just going into the auto running section. Alright, another wisp here that you will only see once and never again. It is Eagle. It just kind of makes me fly. Hello. That is not what I wanted. All right, let me just walk up normally to these little capsules right here. I want them. Give me the capsules. But yeah, Eagle also stops as soon as you hit a ledge. So I wanted to hit that ledge. Oh, hi pretzel, big pretzel in this guy. I wanted to make sure that I hit that ledge to cancel the Eagle, but also high enough that Sonic would grab onto it. And now this is just essentially a little bit of auto-scroller, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to Double and see if he has anything he wants to say.
Alright. Well, BSG is happy to welcome Lewitt as our premium microphone sponsor. With a focus on your needs and the help of modern and precise manufacturing techniques, Lewitt creates audio gear That makes you sound exceptional whether you're a recording artist, content producer or streamer. If you want to upgrade your stream to the next level or need an edge in the studio or live on stage, check out the extensive Lewitt library of award-winning products to find the right microphone for your budget and needs.
He's using Lewitt microphone right now, by the way. There you go. Helps your ad read, buddy. I got you. All right. So yeah, the rest of that was just a little bit of an autoscroller mini boss fight, as well as some automated running. Again, there's not much going on there. Next stage, though, is some of the hardest platforming, because it's just a whole bunch of small platforms, some of which are dragons that show up and disappear, so they're essentially moving as you hit them, so you really have to time all of your jumps quite well. There's also not a lot of checkpoints in this, so if I take any deaths, there are going to be some bigger deaths for sure. But yeah, gotta time it just right. Alright, made it. Yeah, okay, we good. If I time my jump just right, I can just, yep, kind of launch off of his snout. There we go. Set me up. Again, use these little moving dragons as platforms, why not? And I've made it to the first checkpoint, we good. From this point, the dragons are going to be shooting lasers at me. I don't like that, but you know, you gotta deal with it. As long as you go fast enough, you do not have to worry about the lasers. It can be a little tricky though, a little scary. Yep, there you go, there you got me. Fortunately, I was right before a platform. Overall, that went pretty well. No big deal. So this is Zavok. He's like the leader of the Deadly Six. He's like the big bad. And he's going to show me his full strength, except he's not going to show me his full strength because he's not going to show me his full strength until we fight him in the refight later. Alright, I essentially just have to hit this orb in order to stop his big dragon machine. And I could homing attack across all of the homing attack targets that are on top of the dragon to get to where he is. Or I could just go up and do a triple bounce. The bounce, you can do it up to 3 times before it stops you from doing it again. And with every bounce, you get a little bit higher. So with a triple bounce, you get just high enough to make it up to that platform. Easy buzz, easy life. Whew. Alright, let's see. How am I doing on animals? Yeah, looking pretty good. Gonna be grabbing a bunch more here, and yeah, this is an autoscroller. This entire stage is autoscroller. There's not really much to do to speed this one up. What I can do though during the stage is talk a little bit about Sky Road, because it is quite an interesting zone. It was actually not supposed to be a zone, which is why the first Sky Road zone stage kind of looks suspiciously like Windy Hill, and the second one had more of a like Silent Forest vibe going on, and the last one will have more of a Desert Ruins vibe going on. Yeah, they just kind of like threw some leftover stages they had from other things that didn't quite work with the setup they wanted into this little area, and they just kind of shifted stuff around for areas where they did not have enough stages for stuff like that. Happen at some point in development, but that makes the funny thing that the very boring autoscroller that I'm doing right now is the only actual original Sky Road stage. Everything else is pretty much themed after something else, with only some small changes to make it more Sky Roady. But at least the Sky Road theme slaps, so I'm happy Sky Road is here. The way this autoscroller works is that there's just constantly a current blowing you up. When you hold onto the jump button, you go down. And while you're in your ball form, you can destroy enemies like that. The enemies give you animals when you hit them directly, but if you get them on the parachute like that, then you do not get any animals for them. But in total, I'm going to need 19,000 in order to unlock the final stage of the final zone, and I'm already very close to that. There's going to be one more stage that has a capsule of 30 at the end, and 30 is essentially all I need. So from this point on, it's all smooth sailing when it comes to animal collection. And otherwise, I would have some backups. Now at the end of this, you do fight a little mini boss right here. You just bonk 3 of his rockets back to him. I might be in trouble. I am in trouble. Yeah, because that missed. Alright, I didn't get hits. Alright, we good. This is not good. Normally I just get the first 3 rockets. That was very scary. I have no rings. I would have died if he hit me. It just bodied me. Alright, survived it, it's fine. There's not really any way to go faster, but I did find ways to go slower there. Oh well. Cool. But yeah, here's the final Sky Road stage, and yeah, a lot of Desert Ruins vibes going on this one. It is always also one of the more awkward stages in terms of its level design, honestly. Hard to go fast in, but by being creative enough with my infinite wall runs, you can definitely speed it up quite a bit. There's also going to be a lot of damage boosting in this particular stage, just because there's a lot of enemies and obstacles on stage. Some spooky ghosts. Oh, there we go. Please get up. Gotta wait out the ghost cycle now. And as you noticed, I once again picked up Rhythm Wisp, and I'm actually going to use it. Despite the fact that Rhythm Wisp is not actually very useful for its actual abilities, I am going to be using Rhythm Wisp, because what it is good at is breaking you out of bounds. The 2D sections in this stage essentially just loop in on themselves. If you go off screen on the right, then you will end up on the left and vice versa. And using that, by using a rhythm to go off screen, you can just kind of fall to the side of the stage. And then since there's only one-sided collision on the walls, you can pretty easily break back and bounce once you get to where you need to go. Which is nice for this section, which is just a whole bunch of falling down, essentially. So I'm going to be using rhythm right here, do one tick to make it go to the side, and there you go. That is rhythm skip. Thank you, buddy. I do like rhythm skips. I don't know, whether it's colors with cube or this game with rhythm, I have a soft spot for the useless wisps. They're funny, they're cute. Whew. Now Sonic is just going to be sliding on the sand a whole bunch, getting sand in his cheeks. You know how it is. That particular cactus ball is pretty hard to avoid. It is possible if you're very tight, but you're also at risk of dying if you go to the right too early. So I always just take the hit. It doesn't actually knock you off the pole, so it's no big deal. But yeah, that is one of the more awkwardly designed parts of this stage, as is the entire next 2D section. It just doesn't flow. It doesn't flow. It does not flow well. There's one enemy right here. Going to take a damage boost. Going to take another damage boost to get through the fire. And then some very awkwardly placed sand blocks. Damage boost to get through the ghosts. And yeah, there's just these sand block stairs are just, there's no good way to go fast here. It's just always going to feel slow. It feels that bad. Ooh. Another problem of this section as well is that once the screen goes up, the kill plane also goes up. You can't actually fall down and be fine. You will hit a kill plane. So if you fall in the wrong spots where the kill plane has just moved up, then yeah, you are in trouble. You will take a death. I really wanted to get hit by the fire. Anyway, you get like a small window in order to do a little bit of movement and a jump right there, which allows me to get to the other side. After I hit him, Zavok is going to be running off to the right, so I do want to make sure that I hit him on this side so that he has less distance to traverse. Because as you can see, he's not the fastest boy. He's just kind of going at his own pace, you know. Here I'm going to do a 3 charge to get him into that thing, and then another 3 charge to get him out. No, Zavok is one of those guys that you can actually, as one of the few enemies of the game, charge your homing attack more than 3 times. Quite a bit after, actually, as you will see in a bit. But yeah, once again here, I'm going to make sure that he goes to the side, because I'm going to be needing to knock him off the side. Hit him once to put him on his, like right on the edge, and then there we go. A fully charged homing attack to send him flying. No big deal. And with that, we've already ended up at the final zone of the run. It's going to be a lava mountain, which is partially some of the hardest stages in the run, and partially just going to be boss rush. Like during this stage, literally all you do is you do refights with the first 3 bosses, and then throughout the 3rd stage you get some refights with the second group of bosses. So yeah, it's Saz again. It's gonna beat me like a drum. They're not that much more difficult, by the way. You still just do 2 fully charged homing attacks and they're gone. Next up is Zomam again. He's going to be spinning around again to try and hit me, but you can't. He is actually vulnerable while he does that, so you can't just kind of stand here and do a fully charged homing attack. He gets it though. Blue is the best flavor. Love blue. Then you make him dig into the lava to get him out. Another fully charged homing attack. It's easy. And then the last one is Master Zik. Just the old man sensei over here. He will hold nothing back this time, except he is still honestly one of the easiest. Just kind of runs away from you. And then there you go. That is the refight. This stage is a non-issue, except for when during certain animations they can't be fully damaged all the way. So if you're a little too slow in your attacks, then sometimes you're in trouble. Because in certain animations they will just survive on 1 HP and then be invulnerable for a while. But yeah. Alright, we've made it to the hardest stage in the run. This is the other rail stage. There's going to be 2 3D and 2D glitches that I'm going to be doing, jumping around the 3D triggers, or the 2D triggers. Whichever one. I'm not going to be playing this one as risky. I'm not going to be holding forward for the entirety. I'm mostly just going to use my downward momentum from that rail and just hold neutral. There are also, however, these bomb carts. You cannot jump high enough to consistently jump over them, so I am going to have to weave in and out of the actual area where the rails are. Which can be quite tricky, because again, you're stuck with this camera view. You're like diagonally behind Sonic. It can be very hard to see. It's like, oh, am I actually lined up with the rail properly? It kind of looks the same, but yeah, you just kind of like weave in and out to avoid those bomb carts. It is very cool, but it's also very difficult. And during the last 2D section, there's going to just be a whole bunch of bomb carts where the only way to properly avoid them is to jump over them and hold forward to make sure that you actually jump over all of them at once. So for that section, I need to make sure that my angle is on point. They're big jumps as well. If they're small jumps, your angle can be a little bit off, and then you're still close enough to the rail that it will pull you in. But the longer you stay in the air, the more precise your angle needs to be to make sure that you are actually aligned exactly with the rail. So let's see how it goes. As soon as the 2D sections start, I'm going to be doing a little jump into the foreground to get the 3D physics. You do get a checkpoint, but you're now locked in with 3D physics. And this is where I have to hold the perfect angle, so let's see what we get. I think that looks good. I am actually looking down at my controller to see if I get the good angle or not. We will see. This is the big one. Yeah, there we go, lined up. We are good. First try, very good. Hardest trick in the game. Whew. Always nice when that one is over. It's nice, really. Hardest trick of the game at the very end of the run. Love that. Not at all nerve-wracking or stuff like that. Alright. One thing I've neglected to say about these rail levels, by the way, the green ones do actually make you go faster and the red ones make you go slower, so you also want to maximize the amount of time that you spend on the green rails. I don't know if jumping actually helps with going fast on the green rails. They might just already send you at the maximum amount of speed. But just in case it helps, I jump. It's a bit of a hard thing to time. Very good Lava Mountain 2, very happy about that. That stage is hard. It has killed quite a few runs. Alright. Lava Mountain 3 is another boss rush with the rest of the Deadly Six. It's also one of the longest stages in the game. A lot of like awkward movements to do. A lot of movement that's, again, hard to do under pressure. Great to have at the end of the run. But yeah, some awkward 2D sections to traverse fast. There's also the hover wisp right here, which I'm going to be using at 2 spots in the stage. Unfortunately, it controls very poorly. There's a lot of very floaty movement, so it's a little hard, but we'll hopefully get it. I forgot the flowers, dude. Oh, every time. I forget the flowers every time. Anyway, there we go. That's Cena. Not a very good, or very difficult refight once again. That giant cannon is also a nice obstacle in the sense that you can just kind of go to the side of the bullet, no big deal. Gonna ignore some of the level design here by just doing some good wall running. Yeah, there we go. Next 2D section and a next refight. This is my boy Zor. Alright. Wait, the spike balls. That movement can honestly be quite tricky thanks to the conveyor belts as well. And there's hover. Ooh, like I said, it's very floaty, very difficult to control. It can do a little dash, which can help, but it also takes more of your hover meter away to do the dash. So you gotta use it sparingly. Alright, that was a pretty good movement. The Zor refight is honestly the most pointless one of them all. He's just kind of gonna get on these platforms and do a little attack that might not actually hurt you. As long as you stay on the side of the platforms, you just straight up do not get hit, which is why I was not worried despite not having any rings. Alright, once again, I'm going to be doing some wall running here. And taking another hover wisp into the next section. The fact that you have to take hover wisps from previous sections into the next one does mean that if you then take a death in that section, you have to do some stuff without the hover wisp. So deaths are a little bit more punishing in this particular stage than some others, just because you don't have the wisp that you want to use. Alright, next refight is going to be Zavok. Zavok is going to be very inspired by Bowser. He's taken a lot of notes from Bowser in 3D World, or even in New Super Mario. Honestly, you might have guessed, this game is definitely very inspired by multiple Nintendo games. When Nintendo asked them to make a Sonic game that was going to be exclusive for the Wii U, they got the assignment and were like, all right, cool. Well, let's like make it like Mario Galaxy and a little bit like Donkey Kong Country and just a little bit like New Super Mario, to the point where there's even like a countdown timer rather than a normal timer that a Sonic game would have. But yeah, he's gonna go big. He's big Zavok now. He's like Bowser went big. He's pretty easy though. You just need to hit him with enough of these blocks, and as long as I make sure that I do not hit 2 of them at the same time, then there is exactly enough blocks here to just kind of destroy them. As a matter of fact, there's leeway. You can do one. You can do one of them where you accidentally shoot 2 of them down. You also need to make sure you don't go too fast. So now you might be thinking, why is there another stage? Why is there another stage? We just dealt with, the bosses again. Surely there's not another refight. No, it's just one of those cases where, a surprise, real boss is Eggman. It was Eggman the whole time. Throughout this, you actually work together with Eggman to defeat the Zeddy, who have, escaped from Eggman's control. And then, of course, at the end, he betrays you, because he's Eggman. Of course he's going to betray you. This boss fight is basically entirely copied from Sonic Colors. It's also not very difficult, so I'm actually just going to be using this to do a few shoutouts. Specifically, I'm going to be shouting out my boy Brandino59. There is a 3DS version of this game, and it is vastly different. And Brandino is the best runner for that, by far, like, absolutely. He put so much work into the 3DS version. Please do check him out. He actually has a marathon run 2 days from now at pace of the 3DS version, and even though it is basically an entirely different game with the same name, it is also a very cool speed game in its own right. So definitely do check that out. Also, a big thanks to the Sonic Lost World community, small as we are, because this is honestly quite a technical Sonic game, and it's not the most well-documented one, but there are definitely a lot of people that have just put a whole bunch of time into this. Like DSS and Deluxe back in the day when this was Wii U exclusive, shaped a whole bunch of this run. And then for a while there was just no activity until a Korean runner named Sanman did the stuff. Time is coming up, by the way. I'll finish up my talking afterwards, but time is coming up. And time. There we go. 1:13:22. Pretty cool. But yeah, shout out to Sunman as well, who despite the lack of resources picked this game up and eventually got world record despite the language barrier. Very cool. And eventually people like Gordon Ramsay and yes, the one and only Gordon Ramsay and Labras picked the game back up to figure everything back up again. And all of the work they did has really helped me pick this game up as well. It's been very cool. Also, one shout out to another runner and buddy of mine, Subaru. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy. All right. Anyway, that's Sonic Lost World. I did check with tech or like with organizing beforehand, and because we're a little bit ahead of schedule, I am going to be allowed to do a little small showcase as well, because this was wingless. But how powerful is the winged version? Like how much can you do with the wings? Well, we're going to find out. For that, I do need to set up or like quit out and go back into the game. Oh, I actually should have done some save file stuff first, if that's all right. Did you want to cut away while I set this up, or is it cool if I just do it live? It's like a few seconds. Should be fine, right? Yeah, all right. I'll go ahead and just set up the save file right now. Might not be a good idea to do that. You know what? I'll do it with the existing save file. We can also do this with. This is a little bit improvised. I did not actually prepare for this very well because I did not think I'd be doing it. But because we're ahead of schedule, I can show off some funny wing stuff. So the main way to trigger the wings is by going from 1 life to 0 lives. And that will guarantee spawn the wing. So a lot of the any % run where you do use the wings, you essentially spend with either 1 life when you're about to do a warp, or 0 lives when you have just done a warp. So since I don't actually have 0 lives, I am going to have to do a whole bunch of extra deaths just to show off the mechanic. Fortunately, this is a very good stage where I can show that off still pretty quickly, because even if you were to die 5 times in order to spawn a wing, it is pretty powerful. It sends you all the way to the next checkpoint. So this stage that was just a whole bunch of optimizing of the auto-scrollers and all that kind of stuff, and some tricks where you go off-screen in order to just keep the auto-scroller going faster. By abusing the wing system to warp you to the next checkpoint, you will just be able to negate the entirety of those particular 2D sections. So right here's the wing, you grab it, you go to the next checkpoint, all the way at the drill. So if you were to do that with 1 life going from 0 lives, you would only have to walk into the thing once, which is pretty good. Oh, there we go. Sorry, once you get into the actual wall, it's this drill has tank controls basically. It turns very slowly. But then you go all the way up here. There's a life right there, so you would be able to just kind of pick that up immediately, hit another checkpoint, and then just walk into the tornado again to spawn another wing. Here I'm going to have to do it 5 times instead of just the 1 time that you would actually do it in the 80% run. And that will actually allow me to skip this entire section. So as you can imagine, while the 80% run is a little bit of a one-trick pony, since it's mostly just death abuse to spawn those wings and that kind of stuff, it is very powerful, and it is like over 10 minutes faster to do that throughout the run. You can't do it everywhere. Not everywhere is worth it, and you also need to route out specific one-ups that you pick up in order to actually make sure that you can do another warp. But again, this one skips the entire 2D section just straight to the boss. That is essentially how the wing mechanic works. And it is used in nearly every stage, except ones that already have big skips of their own, like Wingless or stuff like that. So yeah, that is basically it. I could do this boss fight again. Don't necessarily need to do a boss fight again. So instead, I said I'm going to call it here. It was very nice. Thank you for having me. Very nice to be able to do the Sonic Lost World at a marathon. And help raise some money for charity, of course. And I'll say on to the next run. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, Cyd, for your showcase of Sonic Lost World, and also showing how different the wing is. We're gonna be going to an intermission, roll some ads, and we're going to set up the next run, which is going to be Ape Escape by Recalled. It's gonna be any %, and this will also mark the end of my hosting shift, and I will be handing you over to Mies LWD. Stay tuned, and yeah, get yourself hydrated. Now's a good time to do so.